Have you ever suffered over something that never actually happened? Have you ever been angry, anxious, jealous or hurt, only to discover that the story in your mind wasn't true? If so, you've experienced the power of assumptions. Negative assumptions are one of the root habits behind emotional suffering. The problem with assumptions is that we believe they are true. We create stories in our minds about what other people are thinking, feeling, or doing. We assume the worst, take it personally, and then react. Sometimes with words, sometimes with actions that hurt ourselves and others. The crazy part, we do all of this without a single piece of evidence. That is why assumptions create so many problems. We misunderstand situations. We take things personally. We create drama from something that may not even exist, and drag innocent people around us into this process without being aware. Imagine this. Mary has been dating David for 2 years. Years earlier, a previous partner had cheated on her, leaving her with a lingering fear of betrayal. One Tuesday evening, David usually arrives home at 5:30 p.m. By 7 p.m., he hasn't replied to any of Mary's messages. His location still shows him at work. Immediately, her mind begins creating a story. He doesn't want to come home. Maybe he's bored of me. What if he's with someone else? Suddenly she remembers seeing him laugh at a text message that morning. What was a completely ordinary moment now becomes evidence in her mind that something is wrong. Her anxiety grows. Her heart races. She paces around the house. The more she thinks, the more real the story becomes. By the time David finally walks through the door at 7:45 p.m., Mary is already convinced she knows the truth. She confronts him immediately. Where were you? Who were you with? Why are you hiding things from me? David is stunned. He explains that he had been stuck in a mandatory last-minute presentation with an important client. Afterward, he grabbed takeout for dinner and lost track of time. His phone had been buried in his bag the entire evening. And that text he laughed at that morning, just a joke from a friend, nothing more. David wasn't the problem. Mary's assumption was. But here's the part most people miss. Mary wasn't really afraid of David that night. She was afraid of someone else. Someone from years ago who actually did lie to her, actually did cheat, actually did make her wait by the phone that never rang with the truth. That old fear never fully left. It just went quiet. And the moment David walked through the familiar door, late, unreachable, unexplained, the old fear put on David's face and walked back into the room. David didn't do anything wrong tonight. He inherited a debt from a man he never met. This is what a lot of our assumptions actually are. Not predictions about the person standing in front of us, but old wounds borrowing a new face to relive an old story. Here's what happened underneath the surface, and it doesn't just apply to Mary. Most people think the event caused the emotion. David came home late, Mary got upset. That seems obvious. But it wasn't the lateness that caused her emotion. It was the assumption she built about the lateness. And that assumption wasn't really written by tonight. It was written years earlier by someone else, and Mary kept signing David's name to it. The event never changed. The story did. And the story decided how she felt. This also means something important. Having the thought isn't the failure. Your mind will always generate a guess when the picture is incomplete. That's simply what minds do. The failure is what happens next. It's treating the guess as a verdict instead of a question. It's skipping the part where you check and going straight to sentencing someone for a crime that hasn't been proven. Once you see this pattern, you start noticing it everywhere. You assume your boss is unhappy with you. Anxiety follows. You assume someone is judging you. Insecurity follows. You assume you'll fail. Procrastination follows. You assume the future will be bad. Worry follows. In every case, the suffering begins before reality has even spoken. You are reacting to a story, not to facts. And often you're not even reacting to a new story. You're replaying an old one, with someone else cast in the lead role. The cost is many people spend years trapped in this habit. They worry about the future. They imagine problems that haven't happened. They create fear out of situations that exist only in their minds. Fear that, more often than not, was manufactured somewhere else a long time ago. And while they're busy living inside these imagined stories, real life is passing them by. You could be laughing with family, dancing, building friendships, enjoying the short time you have on this earth. Instead, many people spend their lives fighting battles that never actually happen, against people who never actually did anything. Days become months, months become years, and one day they wake up and realize they've spent most of their life living in their head, defending against ghosts, wearing the faces of other people who love them. Negative assumptions don't only set you up for emotional pain in the moment, they quietly erode the relationships you care about most. And this version of the habit doesn't always look like Mary's. It rarely shows up as one dramatic night at the door. More often it's quieter than that. It's the everyday assumption that the people closest to us already know what we think, what we want, what we need, without us ever having to say it. If you constantly make assumptions with the people you love, you are asking for problems. Often we assume our partner already knows exactly what we think and feel. We assume they know what we want without us ever saying it. We expect them to read our minds. Then, when they fail to meet expectations we never voiced, we feel hurt, angry, or disappointed. We say, "You should have known." But how could they? No one can read minds. This is the quiet version of what happened to Mary. Not one accusation at the door, but years of expecting to be understood without ever being clear, and feeling betrayed every time we aren't. The assumption creates the conflict, not the reality. This is how assumptions create misunderstandings between people who genuinely love each other, and between people and ghosts who never noticed they were still arguing with. The moment the assumption lands in your mind, it looks harmless, just a thought, just a guess. But left alone, it doesn't stay a seed. It grows, and it grows faster than you'd expect. Sometimes it takes days, sometimes it only takes minutes. All it needs is silence, a little unanswered space for your mind to fill, and it starts building roots immediately. The longer it's left unchecked, the deeper those roots go. What started as a single thought becomes a belief. The belief hardens into a story you'd swear was true. And by the time you act on it, you're no longer holding a passing thought. You're holding something fully grown, wrapped tightly around how you see another person. This is why timing matters as much as awareness does. Catch the seed the moment it lands, and the cut is effortless. A single question, and it's gone. Wait, even a little, and you may be already facing a whole tree. Use awareness as your saw, and use it immediately. The solution is simple, even if it isn't always easy. When you don't know, don't assume. Ask, seek clarity, communicate. If a story appears in your mind, recognize it exactly for what it is. A story, not a fact. And ask yourself one more question. Whose story is it really? Is it about the person in front of you? Or someone in your past who never got the chance to apologize? Become aware of the assumptions your mind creates, especially the ones driven by fear of the future. Come back to the present moment. See what is actually happening, not what your imagination insists is happening. Most of the suffering created by assumptions disappears the moment we seek the truth instead of inventing it. Assumptions separate us from reality. Questions bring us back to